Welcome to this edition of Spotlight. We are at Congress Middle School with Principal Dr. Tim Todd. And Tim, classes, homework, time management are all skills that middle schoolers really work on. And now one reading teacher is taking assessment data and helping students with those different skills. Can you tell me more about that?
Sure. Those skills that you talk about are what we call executive functions. And it's something that adults need to have in order to function, because it's, as you say, time management, it's organization, it's how to use a calendar. All of these things are things that really start to develop with students when they're in middle school. And it's an age-old struggle, and it's one that Mrs. Coughlin has done a fantastic job of really trying to identify a solution that's going to be effective with these kids and really putting it into practice. So we're glad you're here.
Well, let's take a look at what Mrs. Coughlin calls Missing Work Mondays as we spotlight Congress Middle School.
Missing Work Monday is basically where the teacher gives us a printed off sheet of all of the work that we are missing, and that it has a due date for when it was due, and then that way we know when what work we have to turn in, and that way we can get it turned in and we can not have piles and piles of missing work.
I tell the kids what % of the work I've assigned in reading class is missing per class. I've done assessment data in the past, and I still track that for myself, but the kids didn't get excited about that. And since it's like a classroom activity, I wanted to use something that on a weekly basis we could really check in with and could really make an impact on them and they'd be into.
What I like most about Missing Work Mondays is it helps me see what I need to get done and plan everything out of how I need to set my homework up and split it into parts.
I think it definitely motivates them to get that turned in, not just because of the incentive, they do like the incentive, but I think just because they do want to be successful, and it's that reminder that they need in middle school.
When I see the work that I have to do like that, I can tell that I've got to study for a test, and this was a big review or a big study guide. So now I gotta kind of review that and get it done so I can study and do good on the test.
When I get home, I look at the sheet and see what needs to get done, and then I take that and split it into little pieces and little parts so I can get done easier, and then I put it into one.
I've been very excited to see them really engage in the process. They do seem to enjoy it. They ask me about it. They say how many more weeks until we know who the winner is? So I have enjoyed that they do seem engaged, because that's what I wanted, was for it to be a process that all of the students were engaged on and not just data that I was looking at.
It's a really good concept, and I hope she does this in the future years because it's really helpful.